Judge is a better version of Brock Lesnar.
What is something you love as much as the Charmin Bears love wiping?
As an opposing fan, you'd probably see his face and want to sock him between the cracks.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Losses Above Replacement, LAR_baseball, the greatest podcast to grace your ears. I am Splash, joined today only by Alex because Mac is on a side quest. Good job, Mac. And shout out in the chat, we got XYZ Ballin. Let's go. I don't know what you're let's going to, but yeah, let's go.
Let's go for the podcast. No, but guys, hyped to hear us talk.
Yeah,
Woo!
podcast.
Podcasting time.
Yeah, we're going to start with a non-baseball topic, actually. Alex, your Seahawks are the champions of the Superb Owl.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now
I mean,
baseball
pretty good. Because I'm pretty good as your Ravines did not make it near as far as I thought. But you know what? It'd be like that. You know, sometimes it'd be like that, as much as Lamar Jackson Smith and Jigba would like to say. But
well, at least you didn't mispronounce it like Drewski did.
No, this is also very, very true. But no, I went to the parade yesterday. That was an amazing time. That was so much fun. But I'm so glad the Seahawks won. It's fun. I really just now am ready for baseball. No, I'm all baseball. I got this hat yesterday. So you're the one that was always showing off hats. I'm gonna show this one off. Got this at the store yesterday.
Okay, nice.
24 hour with the Swingman logo on it.
We love it. All right, cooked. All right, we cooked, and now we're gonna cook with some rankings, I guess. Left fielders,
cooking, boys.
Yeah, left fielders, a strange list. We have our list, Mac's list. It's all covered up. We got my list, Alex's list, all covered up. Alex, any sort of like overarching thoughts you had while you were making your list?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that fit between the numbers of 2 and 8th honorable mention. That's the thing here, is that there is just one guy that is at the very tip top of this, and unfortunately, after that, it's a steep decline, and that one person wasn't even at this position until a little bit ago.
Yeah, and do you want to reveal our number ones across the board?
I mean, obviously, it's Randy Arozarena of the Seattle Mariners.
Darn, I actually had Mike Yastrzemski hitting left-handed. Hitting lefties, actually.
I'm sorry, no, my other one was Brooks Baldwin of the Chicago White Sox.
I had Brandon Marsh.
Oh, true.
I actually had Nick Castellanos after he's removed from the game.
Nick Castellanos 2 beers in.
Shout out to the 2012 Red Sox.
If
you want, we can reveal our number ones, because
I mean, I think it's for all 3 of us, because we have Mac's list as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, is there any surprise at this point?
I don't
just want to say that it's Juan
Soto?
I
have Juan Soto.
Oh yes, Juan Soto. I think there might be a
Alex has J1 S Odo. Okay, and then Mac has. Oh, his is an orange. Neat.
Juan Soto, but in orange.
So I love Juan Soto.
Just like those pie graphs where it's like yes, but in yellow.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
That's same thought process here.
It's Juan Soto. He was going to be in our right fielders list. He was going to be right in the heated debate of my right fielder list, at least for me. But he's going to play left for the DR. And Carlos Mendoza said, yeah, he'll play left for us. Why not? So he went from being a DH to being the everyday right fielder, because they still had Alonso and Vientos and a lot of chaos. And now he's going to play left field. So I guess, but we're not rating Soto's ability to play left field. It doesn't really matter what position he plays. He's one of the top 5 to 10 players in baseball. He's a guy who should be second in MVP odds behind Shohei Ohtani. He is one of the best pure hitters in baseball. He's like the classic. He doesn't hit for as high of an average as Albert Pujols, but like a Pujols, Cabrera, just like a pure hitter type. Soto does that really high on base percentage year after year, led the National League in on base last year, although it did dip below 400 for the first time in his career.
I mean, that was
tremendous power to all fields. And Alex, did you know that Juan Soto led the National League in stolen bases?
I somehow did know that, and again, it proves the point even more so that stolen bases have nothing to do with speed. It's all
Yes.
baseball IQ.
And this is why Matt Olson's going to steal 100 bags this year, because the Mets base running coach, Mets first base coach, is now the Braves first base coach. So let's go, Matt.
I mean, that'll be fun here. I just want to see more Josh Naylor stolen bases, because that is one of my favorite things, is to watch him just take bags willy-nilly.
Fair. All right,
Oh,
Alex,
that
add on. So
speed card for it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. For the guy that has the second slowest average speed in Major League Baseball. So
it'd be like that.
It really, in fact, be like that in facto. All right.
Anything to add on Soto?
I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, Juan Soto is just by pure hitting, one of the best hitters in the game today. I mean, I don't think that's even much of a debate at this point. Like, I know I've debated at times where it's like, yes, he has this, but there's no defense, so he can't be at the top here unless he knows how to hit at least a little bit here. But he has proven without a shadow of a doubt that if you are a good enough hitter, it does not matter what your defense is like. Shout out to The Rock, where it doesn't matter what your defense is like. It doesn't matter. He is that good at hitting to where every time that he has a bat in his hands, it is dangerous. Like, whether or not it be for getting a home run. If you're not worried about him getting the home run, you're worried about him getting a base hit, then taking a base now because he knows how to do that. And if you're not worried about that, you're worried about him walking and then also taking a base after that. He is on the offensive side of the ball. He is this close to being the perfect player. Legitimately, he has every aspect that you want from a player. He may not have the speed to, go from first to home on certain plays, but he does have the speed to get to first to second before that ball that's in the gap happens here, so we can at least get from second to home. That's how good that Juan Soto is at that point of it here. Hitting the ball, again, is one of the best pure hitters that we have ever seen. His bat-to-ball contact is like Luis Reyes, but he has the power of, like, say, a Julio Rodriguez here. That's the kind of hitter that you're dealing with here. The defense is bad. I am not going to sugarcoat it. The defense is bad. Again, the only reason why you are not putting him at DH is because you have other people that need to be put at DH, so then you can mix around positions a little bit more. And even then, he's still going to find some DH time. Like, let's be honest here. It's just how it works. But regardless, it's Juan Soto, guys. He has been the best player in baseball. One of the best players in baseball for the last, it feels like almost a decade. Almost a decade at this point now.
Yeah, he's entering year 9 this year. I can't believe it.
That hurts my brain to think about. I still remember back to frickin' 2019 here when he was at the Nationals taking on the Astros in the World Series, and Joe Buck could not stop talking about that he is one of the youngest players ever to play in a World Series, to do all these things in a World Series, and he couldn't even drink a beer yet, but yes, he's here getting home runs in the World Series. I'm like, yes, we get it. He's young. But now
he's still only 19. Where did Jason Tatum?
He's still only 19 somehow. He has what was that outfielder? I just lost it. He has Jason Hayward disease, where he always has the potential, even if he'll be like 35.
He'll
always have that
fair.
potential.
That's fair. And one more thing with Soto, he's the classic example of hitting matters more than defense in the case of something like WAR or something, any sort of value representation, that there is a wider disparity between the best and worst hitters than there is the best and worst fielders. And it doesn't really matter that Soto is a 20th percentile fielder because he's a 99th percentile hitter. And then you had the base running that was a massive plus this year. And if you're looking at a projection system, the only guys that might be ahead of Soto are Judge and Ohtani. Like, outside of that, you're not going to find a better hitter than Soto. Maybe Yordan Alvarez if he figures that out, but he's even more of a DH than Soto is. So,
which I didn't think that was possible, but yes,
yeah,
very much so.
Pretty much. And then beyond that, it's like David Ortiz at 50 years old. But
that's so much shade. I mean, you're not wrong, though.
Look, I'm sorry, Jordan. You don't. Your knees don't work properly. You're an amazing hitter. Thank you for turning those tables around in the 2022 World Series. But I don't want to see you play left field, even though it is a small left field in Houston. I also don't want to see Altuve play there. I don't know what Houston's going to do, but figure it out.
I mean, I just don't want to see Altuve play ... but that's a different story altogether.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Do we want to go 1 to 5 here, or do we want to go back to normal order?
You know what? Let's have fun. Let's go 1 to 5. Yeah, we always count down, but now that everyone knows the number 1, because obviously, then let's go 1 to 5. Then we'll do honorable mentions at the end.
All right. I'll go with my number 2.
Yep.
Because I am the all-seeing eye who knows who your number 2 is, and you don't know who my number 2 is. That's why my number 2 is Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers. WAR really likes him. Just well over 5 Baseball Reference WAR. Why is that? The defense is really good. It's so good that the Rangers are thinking about trying to play him in center, and he is listed on some rankings as a center fielder. I don't know about that, but yeah, I could see an outfield that he plays center, and you have a platoon option with Evan Carter in left field, and then you have Nimmo in right field, or vice versa, Nimmo in left and the Evan Carter platoon in right. I do think Evan Carter plays a fair amount of center field, so that would put Langford back in left field, but Langford's just a well-rounded player, sort of like the archetype of a left fielder in this modern era, that a lot of these guys, it's going to be the same talking points. It's like a good hitter, obviously not as good as Soto, but a good hitter, a really good fielder, can run the bases, and a guy who could get some down ballot MVP votes. I'm higher on Texas than I think a lot of people will be. So I could say, yeah, Langford could be the 7th best player in the American League this season. I wouldn't be shocked. He does everything at the plate well, hits for some power, hits for some contact, walks a lot. I love that. And just a really well-rounded ball player. I don't think there's any real flaws in the profile, I would say. Just, through 2 seasons, I think he's been well worth the hype he had as a prospect. And well worth, because he blistered through the minor leagues, and now he's been a good major league player. OPS above 750 through 2 seasons, 40 steals so far, 38 home runs, 13% walk rate. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's my number 2 as well, because Wyatt Langford is just, again, he's a jack of all trades. He does everything pretty darn well. Excuse me. Does everything really darn well. Isn't really a master of any of it, but he doesn't need to be. Here, he is lived up to a lot of the hype that he has had as a prospect. We take a look at the Steamer projections for him, and right now he's projected to have a offensive WAR of 18.3 on Fangraphs. Here, a total WAR of 3.5 here, which is right now the second highest of all known left fielders right now. Here, Jordan Alvarez does not count; he's a designated hitter, but I mean, again, I see this guy play a lot, right? He's in my division. I see him play a lot, and he's always one of those players that you look for him in the lineup, because when he hits, he is another guy that can hit to all fields. He hits for a good amount of power, and even if he does put it in the gap, he's got the speed to make a single into a double, turn a double into a triple, and he will make you pay on that front. He's a great defender, got great speed. In a left field class that is this week, the only reason why he's not number 1 is because Mr. Juan Soto is number 1 here on this. Because I gotta tell you, after Langford, there's another drop off here. Because I don't want to make any disrespect to anybody on this list here. Very much it has been Soto, Langford, a lot of others. I said earlier the 2 through honorable mention number 8 are pretty same. I need to apologize because that did not take into account Wyatt Langford for a moment there.
Yeah, and I think left field is sort of a catch-all. It's the worst of the outfield spots, generally speaking. Like, our right fielder list in a couple weeks is star-studded. Before Soto moved over, we were leaving off. I was leaving off. I can't speak to you and Mac. I was leaving off the highest paid player by annual value in the history of the sport on a top 5 list, because that position's loaded. But if you did a top 5 outfielders without Soto, if you did a top 15 outfielders, maybe Langford gets on there, but that's not a given. If you did a top 10, I don't think Langford's on there. I think Soto's on there. It's probably 5 right fielders, and then like Julio, and then like 8, 9, and 10, you can talk BCA. Oh, we'll get to the center fielders next week.
Yep.
You'll have that conversation. Maybe Langford's there, but I don't necessarily think the rest of the list is.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think Wyatt Langford's on the short list for top 15. He's fringe top 10, if that's.
Yeah,
here.
and
Like,
it's more of a well-rounded profile. The right fielders we'll talk about, loud tools. Julio, loud tools. Juan Soto, 400 career on base percentage. And Wyatt Langford's like, okay, I'm pretty good at everything, but it's more of like a B's across the board, B to C if we're using the Power Pros logic.
Yeah, I would say I would say he's basically like an Orlando Hudson in that way, where it's just all B's across everywhere. And you always look for him because he's going to be that average guy here. When I say average, I don't mean like just, like average Joe. He's going to be the guy that's going to do everything really well. He's the guy that you look to, your go-to guy. But that also doesn't mean he's going to be your number one. Here.
Sure. All right, let's hop over to Mac's list. He actually doesn't have Wyatt Langford at 2. Woo! He has Cody Bellinger at 2.
Okay,
and that'll actually be a good transition into me. I'll talk about Cody Bellinger because he's my number 3. And what do I like about Cody Bellinger? I like that he dominates at home. His lefty swing is perfect for Yankee Stadium, and I get that might be a criticism and that he's a Yankee Stadium merchant and yada yada this and yada yada that. You know what? Maybe he is, but he plays 81 games a year there. So I would hope you're a merchant for your home ballpark. Like, I hope the Rockies hitters can hit. I hope Mariners pitchers can pitch. I hope Reds can hit home runs. I hope people at Pitch That Petco are good at pitching. So Cody Bellinger, when he's at Yankee Stadium, he is elite. He is potentially 2, and there's a reason Mac picked him at 2. But what I like is when he's away from Yankee Stadium, he does change his approach. He says, okay, we don't exactly have the short porch in Boston, Toronto, Tampa. Although they did have one at Steinbrenner, so I don't know how well he hit at Steinbrenner, but that's neither here nor there. But I like that he varies his approach. I like how he changes it up. He shortens his swing. He focuses on putting bat to ball, and I like that versatility. And Bellinger's versatility is his strong suit in other regards too. That's not just as a hitter that he does this, that, the other. He can play left. He can play right. He can do a solid enough job in center. He can play first base. He has that infield, outfield versatility that he's not going to play over Ben Rice at first because I think Ben Rice is a tremendous player. But if Ben Rice, I don't know, fractures his hamate bone, then Bellinger can play first. Or if Aaron Judge runs into another wall at Dodger Stadium, I think they play LA this year at Dodger Stadium, then Bellinger, he can shift over to right field. If Trent Grisham remembers he's a sub 200 hitter, then Bellinger can play in center and you can put Jason Dominguez in left or Spencer Jones in left, whatever Yankees top prospect that Hal didn't actually trade. Bellinger's just a talented player, different from Langford in that he does have the infield outfield versatility. I like Langford's quality of contact more. I like that Langford walks a lot more, but Bellinger doesn't strike out, a sub 14% strikeout rate in 2025, a solid enough walk rate, prioritizes contact. And yes, that does mean the quality of contact can be down sometimes, but he intentionally does that to put the ball in play, to do the whole move runners over, the baseball stuff, the things that the guys from the 90s like, He's at 270 thereabouts the last 2 years. I'll take that. An 800 OPS last year. That's really good. He plays plus defense in left or right, plays solid enough defense in center, and would be a Gold Glove level first baseman if he played the full season there. So just a really good ball player.
Yeah. I really like Bellinger. I'll talk about him a little bit later here. It doesn't mean he's on my list or an honorable mention. You'll have to find out here. But I'll go into my number 3 then. And for my number 3, I have someone that I'm surprised I'm the high one on here, and that's Riley Green. Riley Green, I think, is a tremendous ball player, and I think he's severely underrated. I watched this guy, again, I know a lot of what I say is based on what I see, but hey, cool, that's my shtick. But I watched him in the ALDS, and in a lineup that had guys like Dylan Dingler in it, that had, Tarek Skubal on the mound here, that had a lot of very interesting pieces. Riley Green was one that stood out. Right, every time he came up to plate, my butt clenched. I'm like, no, because we've seen the power. that he has. We've seen the versatility that he has as a hitter, just as a hitter. He's a guy that can go to all different places in the ballpark. He can hit into the gap. He can leg out a single. He can hit the ball 528 feet. That's what he does. And then as a fielder, he ain't too bad either. We take a look at the projections. Excuse me. And he is still projected to be one of the best offensive left fielders in the game. And I think that's still underselling him. What we have seen from him over the last couple of years, we have seen in my humble opinion, the rise of what I think could be a superstar. And if you give him more at-bats here and you give him more consistent at-bats, putting him at like the number 2 or 3 position, I think you're only going to see that stock grow because as I've seen him play, he just gets better and better and better. In a Detroit lineup that really lacks that fear factor. Again, they used to have the fear factor. They used to have it with guys like Miguel Cabrera, guys like, I just lost his name here.
Prince Fielder?
Yeah, Prince Fielder. Thank you. Yeah, Prince Fielder. There was another one. I want to say, Victor Martinez. There we go.
Yes, MVP finalist, Victor Martinez.
Thank you. I was trying to think Carlos Santana. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. No, I love you, Santana, though. But in a lineup that lacks that, Riley Green is that fear factor. Because the Tigers already have the fear factor when it comes to pitching. Tarek Skubal does that enough. Even if you're not facing him, you're like, okay, we're 2 days away from Skubal. Oh, we're 1 day away from Skubal. Riley Green is there every day. And he is playing tremendous baseball and has gotten better from year to year to year. For that reason, he's my number 3.
That's entirely fair. And we can go into Mac's number 4 because it's, Mac's number 4 is Riley Green, but his number 3 is Stephen Kwan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna circle back to Kwan.
Let's please, because that deserves some talking to.
Yes. So Mac's number 4 is Riley Green, and my number 4 is Riley Green.
Yeah.
Green kind of, I don't know how to say this without being rude. He backslid in some important characteristics. He was an elite walker in 2024, not really in 2025. The quality of contact got a little bit worse, and I know he did hit 36 real-life home runs and one of the playoffs, but the quality of contact slid a little bit. The quality of the amount of contact, rather, slid a little bit. 12% whiff rate, 4th percent strikeout rate. These aren't great. And unlike, say, 2017 Judge or Kyle Schwarber, it wasn't elite contact. It was just like really good contact. And Green's defensive metrics took a bit of a step backwards. Baseball Savant still likes him as a plus range guy, but a below average arm. And I think Green has all the tools to be in that top 3 conversation. And there's a reason you put him at 3, and there's a reason he's on all of our lists. I hope to see, instead of a 258 average, more of like a 270 average or 280 average. The 36 home runs is great. He struck out 200 times, and I can be hit or miss with the strikeouts, no pun intended, but being the very worst at squaring up the baseball is bad. Being in the 4th percentile for strikeout percentage is bad. He mashes righties, which is good. That's his job. Really struggles against lefties, fair enough. But an 886 OPS against righties is great. Needs to walk a little bit more. A 323 on base percentage, I don't love that. And that's with the platoon advantage. It's one thing when he's, a 290 on base against lefties. I guess that's fine. It's not good at all, but he can still play and be somewhat competent because, when a righty comes into the game as a reliever, he's going to mash them. That's great. He swings the bat really hard. He has all the tools, but I would like to see a combination of his 2024 walk rates and quality of contact, and then his 2025 36 home runs. He's a barrel king, 17% barrel rate. He hits the tar out of the ball, but he has to hit the ball to hit the tar out of the ball.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that's really interesting when it comes to any player like this here is that that's one of the reasons why Juan Soto is as valuable as he is. He is someone that hits the ball hard, but also just hits the ball. You have guys, again, like Riley Green that have trouble hitting the ball, but when they do, they hit it hard. Then you have guys like Stephen Kwan who hit the ball, but don't always hit it hard. here.
Right. And just to speak to that, Juan Soto and Riley Green have comparable barrel rates.
Yeah.
17% for Green, 18% for Soto. So over the course of a season, that's a couple extra barrels for Soto. Okay, whatever. Soto's sweet spot percentage or squared up percentage, 93rd percentile. When he hits the ball, it's making good quality contact. Green, 101st percentile. Chase rate. Soto never really swings outside of the zone. It's one of the lowest in baseball, 100th percentile chase rate. Green swings a lot out of the zone. Soto is not immune to whiffing. He's not immune to striking out. His are more average. They're in the middle, I'd say middle third. Green's at the bottom of the barrel in terms of doing that. Among elite players, I would say, are really good players. But the quality of contact and having the amount of contact, Soto in that regard is an outlier. It's the Judge. It's Ohtani at times. It's 2023 Ronald Acuna, right? It's crazy outlier when you hit over 300 with 40 home run power. And of course, Soto hasn't hit 300. I think part of that is being in Queens now. So that'll just suppress the old batting average a little bit. But that's the difference between Soto and Riley Green, that the tools are there, but Soto walks and consistently makes more contact. And, some of the bottom 10 percentile swings that Green takes, like Green will take himself out of at bats sometimes, swinging out pitches out of the strike zone. Soto doesn't swing at those. So instead of going down 0-2 after seeing 2 balls, Soto is going to be 2-0 most of the time, and if not 1-1. While Green's going to have a lot of 1-1s in bad spots and 0-2s in really bad spots. And then the pitcher can throw another ball out of the strike zone and Green has to protect. Strike 3.
Yeah. And again, that's not even a knock so much on Green as it is more praise on Soto, because Soto is one of the most disciplined hitters out there. And it shows why being disciplined is so important here. Mm-hmm. Because like you said here, being able to take account that could be 0-2 if you're just swinging at everything and have it be 2-0, you're now more likely to get that fastball right where you want it. Here, right. You're more likely to get a cookie just to make sure they get something over the plate here. Mm-hmm. Whereas for Riley Green, you're going to be at a 1-2 count, and they're going to be able to test that backdoor slider. They're going to be able to test here that curveball maybe that starts in the middle of the zone, then just dips right down. Mm-hmm. Here, and again, this is not a knock on Green at all, mm-hmm. because when he hits the ball, it is gone. It is in the gap. It is for extra bases. Mm-hmm. That's, again, he is extremely good at that. Again, if you give him, he just gets a little bit more consistent at least getting bat on ball. This guy will be top 3 next year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that'll even be a question.
Yeah, and this is why something like Seager, the stat, is so valuable, that it's not about being patient just for the sake of being patient. You could argue Soto is too patient sometimes, that he looks at a lot of strikes in the zone, or Luis Arraez looks at a lot of strikes in the zone. But being selectively aggressive and swinging at pitches you can drive and do damage on, Soto is excellent at that.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't swing at pitches he can't do damage on. If it's strike 3 painted outside corner, you know what? Fine. Now you can protect that and make bad swing decisions. You can go in the opposite direction to Jose Ramirez, that he swings at everything, he makes contact with everything, and it's pretty good contact with everything. Or Luis Arraez, that he makes contact with absolutely everything, but it's pretty not great quality. We could probably talk about Arraez joining the Giants, but maybe another time.
Yeah.
So, Riley Green swings at everything, doesn't make a lot of contact, hence the huge strikeout rate, hence the lower batting average than what you want from your star level player, an all-star level player, a guy that will probably make the all-star game for the Tigers again. And he's the best Tigers position player, at least until Kevin McGonigal comes up and becomes Jesus Christ himself. But, it happens. So I will do the due diligence for Mac. He had Stephen Kwan at number 3. And the case for Kwan is he's the best defensive left fielder. He is really consistent at putting bat to ball. He is the Luis Arraez in many regards in that way.
I was about to make the comparison, yeah.
Yeah. But to me, he's more like a Ichiro or Gwynn hitter than an Arraez hitter, that he does walk a little bit, and he's a great defender, like Ichiro, like Gwynn was for most of his career. Arraez, of course, not a great defender. But Kwan plus 12 fielding run value last season, average base runner, and was a little bit below average at the plate, had an OPS plus in the 90s. You don't love to see that, and a lot of that is the quality of contact because he still had an expected batting average of 273. That's very good. Sweet spots the ball, 93rd percentile, squares up the ball, 99th percentile, rarely whiffs, 100th percentile, rarely strikes out, 99th percentile. His walk rate was down a little bit from where you like to have it. Because for a while, his first 3 seasons, he had been a top third of the league walks guy, 67th percentile, 65th percentile, 70th percentile. This year was more average. He's never been a barrel guy. He's never been a hit the ball particularly hard guy. But there's value to Quan, and I think in this 3 to 8 range that you talk about, he's in that group of he does actually have a standout tool. He has an A grade as a fielder. And when he's more of like maybe a B contact, D power, D speed at this point, having that A as your carrying tool is nice. And yes, it's in left field, not center field or shortstop or catcher. So there's maybe a little bit of diminished value there. But comparing him to other left fielders, he has that thing that can put him over the top. And I think he's a perfectly fine guy to have in his top 5.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I really like Stephen Kwan. And I promise the next statement I'm going to say is a compliment here. He is basically Wish.com Ichiro. He does a lot of the same things that Ichiro does, maybe just not at that extreme elite level, but he still does them all very, very, very well. Here, I'll spoiler alert. I don't have Kwan in my top 5. He's one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but he is still an incredible ball player. I'll talk about him when we get to the honorable mentions. But
all right,
if I get to my number 4?
Sure.
All right, my number 4 from the Milwaukee Brewers, it is Jackson Chourio. I went back and forth on where to put Chourio here because legitimately, when you watch him play, he has the potential to be the best player in baseball. Like, that's not a joke either. He's got the speed. He's got the bat. He's got the glove. He really does have everything. In fact, you take a look at the Steamer projections on him. They have him as the second best left fielder going into this year. Like, that's not a joke either. They have him, like, the only one that's ahead of him right now is Soto. It's like him and Wyatt Langford are, like, right next to each other as well. But the one problem I have with Chourio, because, again, when he is on, he is absolutely on. The problem is he's not always on. And when he gets into those slumps, he becomes a dead out in the lineup. And it's sad because, again, he's a young player, right? So he's going to have these times where he's going to be trying to figure everything out. With that being said, he is still he has every tool you want. He checks every single box if you're a pundit, if you're a scout. There's a reason why he was one of the top prospects for a while. The one thing I also want to kind of bring up here, looking at some of the projections for him, is a really, really low walk rates. The guy does not walk very often, especially for a guy that has pretty solid speed. You would think he would need to be walking just a little bit more here. And it's not the same kind of thing as Riley Green, where Riley Green is the power guy that's going to launch 1 billion home runs. But again, he's also going to strike out 220 times. Chourio doesn't have that kind of power. He still has good power, don't get me wrong, but he does not have, like the David Ortiz power. He has probably closer to like if I had to make a comparison right now, let's say closer to like a Kyle Tucker style of power here. It is maybe not the exact same, but off the top of the head, close enough. He is a solid baseball player in every regard. The problem is he is streaky and he does not walk. When he walks, it is a miracle. Legitimate. You take a look here at the stats for last year. Of all the qualified left fielders here, he's in the bottom 3. The bottom 3. The only one that I can see just immediately looking here that is lower than him is Chandler Simpson. And again, another guy that swings at everything here. So, again, if you're Chourio, it's just about working through the bad spots, drawing a few more walks. But again, remember, he's a young ball player. Give him some time. Yeah, remember, he only came up, 2 years ago, I think?
Yeah, this is year 3.
Yeah, this is year 3. So at this point now, he's still, I'm not going to say he's still finding his footing, But he had a playoff appearance last year, was solid, basically all of last year, except for, again, a few big skids. But other than that, you get a guy, if he can be just a little bit more consistent, this is going to be potentially not just a top 3 player in left field. This is going to be potentially a top 5 player in the National League. He has that ability. It's just about putting it all together.
So when Churio was coming up, a lot of the comps were Ronald Acuna.
Yeah,
And
that's a really good one, actually.
And I think some of those are fair. Unfortunately, I think he has more Michael Harris characteristics at this point than Ronald Acuna, and that's I love me some Michael Harris, but it's the bad parts of Michael Harris. It's the really low walk rate. It's the contact quality is there, but he makes rough swing decisions, so you don't often notice it. But when he runs hot, it's running scalding hot. Like, he could be the best player in the National League. Like, Jackson Churio looks like a future MVP player, but he has to put it all together. And a 12th percentile walk rate is not going to do it. I like that he plays plus defense. I like that he can play all 3 outfield spots. The Brewers have him slated to play left. He is not in my list, but he's a guy that I could just be wrong and not have him on. He could be top 2 in WAR at the left field spot. And heck, he has the profile that he could outdo Soto, given that he could be a, like a 65 to 70 grade hitter with elite defense, and Soto's going to be like a 75 grade hitter with bad defense. Maybe it balances out. Churio's gone 20-20 the last 2 seasons. I like that. The arm is a good arm, low arm value though last year in terms of runners taking the extra base on him, but clean up some of the swing decisions and optimize that power, because the power is there. He swings the bat hard. He has good exit velos when he's making contact, and the high end exit velos are really good. It's just about consistently getting to that. It's the hard hit rate is 42%. If it's 48%, we can talk. If the average exit velo instead of being 89 is 91, we can talk. Average X slug, maybe that's 75th percentile next year. That is an exciting player. That is one of the best players in our sport. And he's 21 still. That's he's crazy. So yeah, not in my top 5. I will probably regret that.
I want to say one more thing when it comes to him here. And this, again, I know we've been talking a lot about Juan Soto. Mm-hmm. But hear me out on this here again. We talked about, again, the patience of Juan Soto. Imagine if Jackson Churio has that patience, right? Where he is getting, instead of these 1 and 2 counts, he's now in 2 and 1 counts. Mm-hmm. Here, he is, instead of being down 0 and 2, he's now 2 and 0. Then he's getting those fastballs that he likes to hit a lot more regularly. Again, that's one of the reasons why I know we talk about him a lot. Soto is that good, and the patience is the reason for it. A guy that has elite bat to ball, yes, but he is so good at working a count here that he demolishes pitchers without swinging the bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you look at Churio actually kind of struggled against fastballs last year, but I think the larger point you make is fair, that when you have to come in the zone and you're in those advantage counts, that'll balance out. So in 2024, he was very good against fastballs, good against sinkers, good against cutters. He was fine. Last year, more of a struggle against fastballs and sinkers, dominated sliders. It really dominated sliders. But yes, your point stands that when you're in advantage counts, that means the onus is on the pitcher to put the ball in the strike zone, because that 2-0, you don't want that to be 3-0, right? You want that to be 2-1.
And that's the thing, right? Because one of the other things that I love to preach as well is if you have, let's say you get like a 0-0 fastball right down the middle, yes, swing at it, obviously. Mm-hmm. But the more pitches you take, the more, the earlier that pitcher is going to come out of the game. And then you're getting into the bullpen. And then over the course of a 3-game series, you're now wearing down that bullpen here, so that by game 3, everything that you have done, where let's say you're a hitter, right? And you have taken off of each starter that you have, or let's say again, you have 2 at-bats against a starting pitcher, right? And each one, let's say have an at-bat that goes 7 pitches. Right? I feel that's reasonable. That means that by the end of the series, you've now taken 21 pitches off of starting pitchers, and then you work into the bullpen here where you do those same ones. 21 pitches is a lot different to a starter than it is to a reliever. A reliever, that's a full outing. A starter, that's about a third to fourth of an outing. Here, maybe more depending on what kind of starter you are.
Sure.
But again, that's what makes players like Soto that have that patience even better, because when you get them to throw balls, when you are in those advantage counts, this is going to sound really obvious here, but I feel like it works the point well. You can't strike out on a 2-1 count. That's kind of the main thing we're working with here. When you are taking pitches, when you are working these counts, you're not striking out near as much because you're not having to swing at the slider that may or may not clip the zone on the outside.
Yeah, and you can take you're not necessarily in defend the plate mode, right? So what makes Cody Bellinger special these last couple of years is that he's excellent in defend the plate mode. But what makes Soto special and what makes like Corey Seager special is when they are in advantage counts, they get their ace swing off. And this is like you swing harder, you're swinging with more intent, and you're swinging with the intention to do damage. This is even like late career Tony Gwynn when he was more of like a doubles hitter than a singles hitter, that you are trying to do damage on pitches you can do damage with. And a whiff there, okay, whatever, you get to swing again, just like a foul ball on a 3-2 count. You get to swing again. And that's the value. And Chourio, I think, in large part, needs to get into these advantage counts more and take advantage of incredible tools. So when he's in a 2-1 count, that's when you can swing like crazy, because we know he can swing like crazy. We know he's going to hit 20 to 25 home runs, if not more. He is 30-30 potential, 40-40 potential, but he has to put himself in the situation to do so. And having an 8% walk rate or a 10% walk rate means you're on first base more. You can steal more. The Brewers are a tremendous base running team. You can go first to third. You can go second to home. All these little nuancy Brewers-y thingies. Chourio can do that, but he has to be on first base to do that. And when he's on first base and you have the higher walk rate, that's going to put him in a position to do even more damage at the plate when he's in 2-1 counts or 3-1 counts or 1-0 counts, as opposed to 0-1 and 1-2 and 0-2. These bad counts that Chourio struggles in, as all hitters do basically across the board. The average hitter is much worse when you have more strikes. I'll pull up his splits here momentarily, but it can be a struggle when you're always putting yourself in those bad situations. When Chourio was in a 3-1 count last season, he had a 1,500 OPS. When he was at 2-2, it is 677. So that's a difference in one pitch, right? The difference between 2-1 and 1-2, it went from an 840 OPS, that's really good, to a sub 600 OPS. That's not good. And even the difference between a first pitch ball and a first pitch strike is an OPS difference for Chourio of about 300 points. He went from a 900 OPS, that's an MVP vote getter, that is like an elite player, 902 OPS when it's a first pitch ball. First pitch strike, 605, you might as well be Nick Allen.
That's what it be sometimes, And that's, again, the advantage of when you have that patience and you have that power, you can make it work a lot easier. Here, again, just please, hitters, be more patient at the plate, please. Anyway,
absolutely.
With that being said, here, should I go into my number 5, or do you want to do your 5?
Go into your number 5. Mac and I have the same number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is a guy that has already been talked about here, and that is one Cody Bellinger. There's one word that I really like to describe Cody Bellinger as: professional. This is a guy that does every job that he can at a professional clip, right? He is a great defender. He's got a great arm. If you put him at first base, he's going to be a Gold Glover. The problem is he's almost wasted at first base here. You got to put him in the outfield where he's going to have a lot more, versatility. He can use that speed. He could use that cannon of an arm he has. And on top of that, as a hitter, he has been, again, one of the biggest consummate power hitters we have seen in a while. He is a guy that, again, has been, an MVP level player. He is a guy that has also been a Sean Figgins level player. And that's the thing here. He has been at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I will never forget here, as a guy that plays MLB The Show a lot, the bronze card of Cody Bellinger. And we're thought, this guy's cooked. He's done. There's no more to him. He was a flash in the pan. Revives his career, plays absolutely out of his mind, and now is back to being one of the best in the game. And again, I knew I wanted to have Bellinger on my list. It was just about where. To be fair, I could have put him at 3 or 4 or 5. I chose 5 purely because I think Riley Green is extremely underrated, and Churio has all the tools, but has the issues here. Bellinger is probably as constant of an answer as you could get here. He's a guy that's going to hit for a lot of power. He's a guy that especially is going to take advantage here of the New York porch. But again, he is a guy that has been around for a while, has been at those highs, has been at those lows, and knows how to be a pro about it. Even if he does look like he has been smoking every day since he was 12. That's neither here or there. He is that good of a ball player. And anyone who's even talked with him, you talk to teammates about Cody Bellinger, and everyone is saying the same thing. He comes and does his business, which, good. That's what you wanted in a teammate. Someone who's going to put the team first and who is going to win. Cody Bellinger is exactly that kind of hitter. And again, I don't even think the projections do him that well. They don't do him terribly, I'll tell you that much, though. Projected at a walk rate of about 8.3%, striking out only 15, which, to be fair, with a lot of these left fielders, they're in the high teens to 20s and higher. And yes, I do mean higher. But he's a guy that you don't have any issues with. He's going to play every single day, barring injury. He could be in left field. He could be in center field. He could be in right field. Hey, he could be in first base if Ben Rice needs a day off. He will do whatever you need to do to win. Good. Again, just being a good ball player. That's what Cody Bellinger is. He is the definition of a professional.
Yeah, love watching Bellinger play. And I'll piggyback off your point, Alex. I'm going to stay in the AL East with the man, the myth, the legend, Roman Anthony. Sorry, Jaron Duran. You would technically count as a DH for me, I guess. So good job, buddy. Let's discuss. I'm going to jump to the elephant in the room. Roman Anthony has played 71 MLB games. I am famous for, poo-pooing these smaller sample size guys. Zach Geloff. Remember how many times I said, can we pump the brakes a little bit on him being like a top 10 second baseman? Or Matt McClain. Matt McClain, super talented player. Can we pump the brakes a little bit? Luke Keeschel. The entire second base episode was me crapping all over him and his entire family. We can pump the brakes. However, Roman Anthony, maybe the vision's there. I don't know. He does things I really like. I will talk about the 404 BABIP. Not sustainable. Sorry. The record is Ty Cobb and Brandon Marsh. Above 365.
To come from the same cloth, Ty Cobb and Brandon Marsh.
Exactly. So unless you're literally Ty Cobb playing in the dead ball era, I don't think you're going to have a BABIP considerably over 350 and have success. That said, he hits the absolute ever-living ball sacks out of the baseball. A 60.7% hard hit rate, an average exit velo 94.5, 15.5% barrel rate. Sweet spots the ball. Doesn't chase a whole lot. Expected WOBA is really good. He had an 850 real life OPS last year. He's a tremendous defensive player in either corner. You do have a Gold Glover in Willie Abreu in right, so he's going to play a lot of left. I think Anthony would be just fine in center. Maybe you wish he was a little bit faster, but you have a Gold Glove level player in center and a Gold Glove level player in right, so he's going to play left. Sorry, Jaron Duran. It still makes sense to trade him to the Astros for Isaac Paredes. I don't know. Regardless.
Don't you put that evil in the world here, Splash. Don't you dare put that evil in the world.
You don't want to see Jaron Duran play left field?
No. I don't want to see. I just don't want to see the Astros getting better in some ways
Fair.
here.
Paredes would be a monster at Fenway, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a monster in Houston too.
Yeah. So I like Anthony's profile, and to be clear, he's also max number 5. So yeah, Roman Anthony.
Yeah, I wanted to put Anthony on mine. Yeah, I really wanted to.
It's tough because I want to support my priors and say he has played 71 games. He's played 71 games. However, I like the sustainability of the things he did. I really love the 13% walk rate.
Mm-hmm.
That is spectacular. Does he strike out a little bit too much? Yeah, sure. He's also 21 years old and doesn't turn 22 until May. Okay, absolutely. He's a really good defensive outfielder. He can play both corners and center. He hasn't played center at the big league level. If he had to play center, I'm sure he would be fine. But a 292, 396, 463 slug last year. He finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting last year after 71 games. There's a reason he was there. And he even had more WAR than Jacob Wilson, who played an extra 50 games. Ironically enough, Noah Cameron of the Royals was 2nd in WAR among rookies, but sure enough. But Luke Keeschel, for example, played 49 games, and people are already saying he's a top 10 player in the sport, basically. I think Roman Anthony's profile is a little bit more sustainable than Luke Keeschel, who doesn't hit the ball as hard, only at a 9% walk rate, not a 13% walk rate, hard hit rate of 31%, not 60%. Am I worried that Anthony hits a lot of ground balls? Yes. But I think his profile is more of a like Ronald Acuna ground ball than a, just a regular old ground ball or Michael Garcia ground ball that eventually they're going to be line drives, and those are going to be a lot of hits, and that's going to be a 300, 400, 500 guy or a 300, 400, 600 guy in an MVP type season. So Roman Anthony is my number 5, and I'm prepared to be long.
I want to say a couple things here on Roman Anthony. Again, it was hard leaving him off my list. Like, again, he is my number 6. Like, legitimately, he's my number 6 on this list. Again, it was the sample size for me, but I want to bring up one more point to add on to piggyback on. Go back into the end of last season for the Red Sox, right? He was one of the main reasons for their big drive for the postseason. He was absolutely on a tear here with them, and he became essentially the de facto leader for a while. And when he got hurt, when he could not play, what happened to the Red Sox? They fell apart again here. And now can we imagine a full season of Roman Anthony here? I think it is very realistic that after a full season of Anthony, he is not an honorable mention for me and number 5 on your guys' list. There's a very real chance he's number 2. He has we've seen over that 71 game sample size, which yes, is small, is not enough. You give him the time, you figure it out. I think if he is anything like he was at the end of last season, he is going to be an absolute nuisance to the entire American League East. So the other thing I wanted to bring up here is that you've talked about how you are very good. You're either very bad on players or it's like for having a smaller sample size, but there's a few that you have been very high on. Roman Anthony is one. The other one that I'm going to bring up here for you to making you look good here was Tarek Skubal 2 years before he won his
my
Cy
glorious.
Young.
And then he tore his I think he blew out his arm that year.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Right now, Anthony is getting the splash endorsement there, which means that he will be a MVP finalist in the next 3 years. So
that'd be nice. I could see.
I'd like to
at least for my list. Obviously, Soto's done that multiple times with multiple teams. I think Langford could be like a MVP vote getter. I think Langford and Green and even Bellinger to some degree are more like MVP vote getter types. Like, oh yeah, they get an MVP 14th on their baseball reference page, or 12th or 9th or 18th or something like that. Roman Anthony could legitimately be just the next Mookie Betts for Boston.
Very true. Yeah.
Just a tremendous corner outfielder defensively, well-rounded hitter profile, maybe more raw power, I would say, than Betts. Betts maybe more of a contact approach, but this is like the difference between a B level contact and C level contact and A-level power and B-level power, right?
Yeah.
I think Anthony is a legitimate, man. All of a sudden he has an 8 WAR season. I mean, he was on pace for like 6.5 to 7 WAR last year. He could be a 7.5 win player at some point in his career, an 8 win player, a guy that if Aaron Judge isn't, Barry Bonds and he doesn't hit until he's 40, then Roman Anthony could be the next American League East player to win an MVP.
Very true.
Who knows? I think that's well within the realm of possibility.
Absolutely. One other player that's we haven't talked about at all here. He's in my honorable mentions here because I already talked about Stephen Kwan here. Is James Wood. James Wood, I think, has the potential to be an absolute superstar here. And the only reason why he's not in this list is because we've been talking about how this list is not strong. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that here. Like, you've got some guys that are really, really good. They just aren't quite there yet. Here, Cody Bellinger is a really good professional. Wyatt Langford is good at everything, just not great at anything here. Roman Anthony, again, we're talking about a guy that has the potential to be an MVP candidate. Riley Green, one of the biggest boomer bust type hitters we have. So there's a lot to work with here, but there's some very interesting players.
And Max sent over some honorable mentions. Tyler Soderstrom, the wonderful SodaStream. Kyle Stowers of the Marlins, an all-star last year. He has Wyatt Langford as an honorable mention. Randy Rosarena and Ian Happ. Yeah. I've been an Ian Happ guy. He's been on my list the last couple of years. I just knocked him out. I like the upside a little bit more with Anthony, but Happ was probably 6th for me, maybe 7th for me. Soderstrom, tremendous player. I like the A's are keeping the band together, and SodaStream was one of the next additions in the gang that should be playing in Vegas here in a couple of years. Stowers, big breakout in Miami. He was an all-star. Of course, we both mentioned Langford at number 2, and then Randy is Randy.
Absolutely. Randy is, in fact, Randy. That is a great way to describe it.
All right. Alex, are you ready for the trivia?
Are we doing trivia or are we going to Hammett Bone?
That's a good point. We are almost an hour in. What would you like to do?
Let's do the Hammett Bone. Let's just go over it quickly.
Okay, I have an impromptu question of the day. Alex, do you want to break your hamate bone?
No, that hurts. Wow, great question of the day. Splash, we did it, boys. We did it.
Finally, we have something we agree on.
Oh my gosh, it only took having a question of do you want to break your hand or not?
Yes. So for those who have been living under a rock, 3 fairly high-profile big leaguers suffered broken hamate bones already in spring training. That would be Francisco Lindor, shortstop for the Mets, and a top 2 second baseman in the sport. Jackson Holliday, a player that Alex put on his top 5 list, if memory serves, at second base. And then Corbin Carroll, who will be featured prominently in probably all 3 of our right fielder lists, especially with Soto moving to left field. So, Alex, pick a name and how you think that'll affect him this season.
I'm going to be real. It's going to affect all of them. Well, because here's the thing. Yes. I want to, okay. I want to explain one thing on this. Right? A hamate bone is something that's very weird because from what I remember, it's about right here. Here. It is right by the thumb here. And why that matters, that's where you're gripping the bat with. Right there, right on that thing. Because here's the thing. Healing it is fine. Whatever. It takes like 6 weeks. Okay, cool. Players that have broken a hamate bone before have said that it is not the healing process that's the worst. It is the re-strengthening process that is the worst because a lot of players lose their power until they get that strength built back up again. Here, and when you have players like Francisco Lindor, who makes his name off of being a pretty darn good hitter, when you have guys like Corbin Carroll, who is, again, while being very speedy, is also a big hitter, and something Jackson Holliday, who is trying to prove him and try to prove me right on being a top 5 at his position here. Losing the power, which is a big part of his game, hurts. And usually it takes months for that to really come back here. I think the biggest one to keep an eye on, though, for this is Holliday. Because, again, for Lindor, great. He still has great defense here, is still a leader on the team here. And even without like the major power, he can still put the ball in the gap, still going to get doubles out of it. Corbin Carroll, again, just needs to get the ball into the outfield, and he has a single, potentially a double, right? Holiday's a little bit different because he's still trying to prove himself. He is still trying to figure out where he stands amongst what I'd like to call basically the big rookies from, even if they're still a few years in now, I understand. But the big players from the Orioles here right alongside guys like Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson here and all that. He's still trying to find that proving point. And having an injury like that can really screw you up, especially in the first half of the season, because most of these guys won't be, let's just say, at 100% until the All-Star break, for what it sounds like, which, again, for those uninitiated, that's half the season.
In fact, over half the season?
True, yeah, that's over half the season.
Yeah, about 90 games, depending on what team you're on. And this is, I think, particularly bad for Holiday, because you could look at Holiday's profile and project an average player fully healthy. Last year, he was a 95 OPS plus guy. Let's assume some third-year growth, and he's a 105 with full health. Well, if he's a average hitter, perfectly healthy, what is a 5% reduction in power do, or 10% reduction in power? And it's not just the power. Like you said, it's affecting his ability to grip the bat. And the power isn't necessarily like the difference between hitting a ball 500 feet and 480 feet. The difference could be, a 90 mile per hour exit velo that's a hit, and an 85 mile per hour exit velo that's in a glove, right? Or a, hard ground ball through the infield that gets by the diving, Trevor Story, but the next ground ball is 80 miles per hour and Story gets to it without having to dive. So that I think will be a big storyline. And
absolutely,
I think Lindor and Carroll, I don't know what this does, how it affects their defense. Lindor is one of the greatest defensive shortstops of all time. Does he make a couple extra errors because he's not 100% sure in his hands? Does he have to DH a couple days or take a couple days off if the hand's not feeling right? I don't know. We primarily talked about this as a hitter, but he's a tremendous fielder, and Carroll is a tremendous fielder. Although some of that is the range, not necessarily the arm. But regardless, I think Carroll and Lindor have more wiggle room in that they are like a 130 projection OPS plus, like a 130 OPS plus guy. So they can take a 5% dip in power, 10% dip in power, and still be a competent hitter and still be great base runners. Lindor has stolen 30 bases multiple times. Carroll has stolen 50 bases in a season. They're both, Carroll in particular is tremendous at going first, third, second home, that sort of sticky Brewersy stuff, 2023 Diamondbacksy stuff. So there is room for error for them, I would say. And I think they might be integrated back into their lineups earlier in the season. But with Holiday, that's just a brutal break, no pun intended, that if he's a below average player, you can't trot him out because he's not a particularly good defensive second baseman. And it's not like he brings a high contact or high on base or other tremendous skills to the plate. He is supposed to hit. And if this takes his ability to hit away, that's a tough sell. Maybe it's a stint in Norfolk. Maybe it's just a longer IL stint, because the Blue Jays aren't for a lack of depth here, that they have you got to fit in Basayo, you got to fit in Westberg. Obviously you have Gunnar, you just traded for Taylor Ward, you have Adley, you have this Colton Cowser, you have a slew of guys that all need some playing time. So maybe Jackson Holiday being injured is not the worst case scenario for the Orioles, even if it is, pretty lame that one of the most talented prospects we've seen in the last few years is hurt and is going to miss a chunk of the season and be not at full strength for the rest of the season. But another guy like Ozzy Albies broke his hamate bone at the end of last season. So I'm hoping his power, it's been a long enough time off, maybe his power is sapped in April, and the Braves are looking for maybe maybe Jorge Mateo plays some second base. They're both switch hitters, so I don't know where the platoon advantage lies there, but maybe there's some Jorge Mateo minutes, for lack of a better word, at second base, or maybe Mauricio Dubon plays second, Mateo plays short, or maybe there's some mixing and matching. Maybe Eli White plays on the dirt a little bit. I don't know. So it's just annoying, these injuries. And I'll talk about Spencer Schwellenbach. He's on the 60 IL. I want to hit my head against a baseball bat really, really hard.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Injuries suck. Like, there's really no better way to say it. Injuries suck. Because at that point, you don't even feel good. Like, even if you're a rival team, right? You don't feel good about someone getting injured because now you feel at this that, okay, now they're always going to have an excuse for why they didn't win. It's because this guy was hurt. No, you just want to win. That's all that matters, just winning at the end of the day. And I never pray for injury. Like, anyone who does, no disrespect, but get out of here.
Right.
Legitimately, these are also human beings.
Right.
And I feel for all three of these guys. Here, Corbin Carroll, I will always feel a little bit more for just because he's a Seattle guy here. But, you know, I love Carroll. He is such a fun player to watch. Random little side story here. One of my favorite baseball memories here was the All-Star game in Seattle. And Corbin Carroll came out for the Diamondbacks here. Tom Hutler, the Mariners PA, said, "Welcome home, Corbin Carroll." And I'm like, okay, that's 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Art right there. Yeah. And at least for me, Ha-Seong Kim injures breaks his hand, slipping on ice in Korea. He's one of my favorite players, even before he was a Brave. And then Spencer Schwellenbach is probably my favorite Braves pitcher ever. Like, he does everything well. He could be legitimately a top 5 guy. Like, he's this is going to be sacrilegious, so hold on to your seats. Very Zach Wheeler-y to me. And he's injured again. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Because like even Strider, and Strider's everyone's favorite pitcher, at least when he was Spencer Strider, he was everyone's favorite pitcher, you know, throwing 99, wearing 99, all that shtick. Spencer Schwellenbach is even more, I would argue, more talented than Strider. And he's going to miss at least 2 months of the season. It's just like so frustrating that you can't even get a full run. You can't even get one swing through the rotation. You know, last year, the Braves at one point, all the members of their opening day rotation were on the 60-day IL. It is not even opening day yet. The random hitters have not gone to spring training yet. And the Braves are already at 20% of their starting rotation is on the 60-day IL. I am frustrated. But that means it's time for trivia.
It is now officially time for trivia. And also, please get better, Spencer Schwellenbach. Splash needs you for his mental health.
Yes, I do. We are going to do a riff on an old segment. Alex, you're familiar with who he played for?
Absolutely.
Or who he has played for?
The best is like the best game show brought in, definitely not by Inside the NBA.
Right. All right. We are going to do the same thing, but we are going to do with managers now.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
So it's who he managed for?
Yeah, who he managed for.
Oh no!
All right.
This is going to be
this should be a good one.
Time.
All right, Alex.
All right.
Did Tony La Russa manage the Chicago White Sox?
Can I say no and it goes back in time so it never happens?
Because
he did, and it's sad.
Yes, he did twice actually. He managed them in the 80s, 79 to 86, and then hold up, he was the manager for both the White Sox and the A's in the same year. Okay, that's
talent
crazy.
Right there. That is absolute talent.
Okay, but yes, he did, and he had a career winning record with the White Sox, which is impressive given that they are the White Sox. So congratulations, a 1-0 start. I'm going to go to another Hall of Famer. Did Sparky Anderson manage the Cleveland Indians at the time?
Yes.
I'd be incorrect. He only managed the Reds, the other Ohio team, and
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who that was.
Darn. Okay. Rest in peace, Sparky Anderson. My dad is going to come for your throat there, Alex.
Okay, that's fine. My throat's been hurting me for a while. I could use a new one.
All right, fair. We're going to go with an active manager, Walt Weiss, active Braves manager. Has he managed the Oakland Athletics?
No, he is not.
That is correct. He did play for the A's, though.
Okay.
Was Rookie of the Year for the A's back in 1988.
All
right, Alex.
All right.
The next stop here is another Hall of Famer, Joe Torre.
Ooh, okay.
Did Joe Torre manage the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yes, he did.
That is correct. He was
At the
he was
very
there
end of
for-
his career, if I remember right.
Yep. He was there for Manny Wood. And that's why he's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT. All right.
Shout out Sid.
Your next manager. Did Buck Showalter manage the Houston Astros?
Oh my gosh, this is gonna kill me because I feel like I know this. Oh no. Yes, he did.
No, he did not. He managed
Okay.
the Yankees, Diamondbacks, Rangers, Orioles, and Mets.
I'm gonna be real. What I've been doing here, like especially for him here, is I'm like, can I imagine him wearing like the coat with like the with the name on it here? I will always though only remember Buck Showalter for his time with the Orioles because that for me that's prime Buck Showalter.
Fair. And yeah, he pitched or he managed for both New York teams, of course, and the Diamondbacks before they got really good, or while they were really good, but not the World Series year. All right, and we will wrap it up with a classic: the man who once wore a disguise in the dugout, Bobby Valentine. Did Bobby Valentine ever manage the New York Yankees?
Yes.
He did not. He managed the Rangers. He managed the Mets. He once donned a fake disguise to come. Is it ever a fake disguise? I feel like it's always just a disguise.
I mean, here's the thing: you can't have the idea of a fake disguise doesn't work because in order to have a fake disguise, it has to be riffing or being the replacement of an actual disguise.
So maybe like a tie-dye mustache instead of like a.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like a fake mustache implies, though, that there is another disguise that he said, that's good, but I want to riff on that instead.
Okay, whatever. So he managed the Rangers, the Mets, and the Boston Red Sox.
That's a good segment. I like that, Splash. I just don't know as much about managers as I should.
That's fine. Yeah, there are some managers this year. Like obviously, Walt Weiss is now the manager for the Braves, but there's a lot of manager change that I didn't really think about, and I thought, hey, we've never done this before. Let's try a new segment.
I like it.
All right.
A lot.
All right, Alex, it's our time for our moment to ourselves. Would you like to go first, sir?
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
All right.
Please give me a countdown.
2, 1, begin.
So the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. I went to the parade on Wednesday. It was absolutely incredible. I cannot repeat a lot of the words that were said at the podium. However, if you really want to go see some of them, just go to the Seahawks Twitter account. There's going to be plenty of them there. It's a good time. But no, getting to be part of like 1.5 million people all there here to celebrate the team winning was special. Truly, it was. However, and this is where I'm probably going to get some flack, I felt a bittersweetness to it. I felt like something was missing, something that didn't quite line up. And I figured out what it was. I was still hurting from the Mariners. I was still hurting from ALCS Game 7. The home run to George Springer. And yes, I know I need to get over it. But the fact that Seattle was 3 innings away from making its very first ever World Series. And here I am here now celebrating the now second time within my lifetime Super Bowl champion Seahawks. It just felt weird. It felt like this was not the parade it should have been. This should have been, the Mariners going out, Josh Naylor here throwing out, candy to people. Julio Rodriguez, now the Apple sponsorship guy here, throwing out apples to people. Like, I just felt this longing. And I think that the Mariners needed to be here. I've now celebrated the Seahawks twice, and I don't regret that at all. I'm very happy for the Seahawks. I am a Seahawks fan. But it really I could not get that kind of sinking feeling out of my heart while I was in the stadium for all that, while I was walking around to watch a bit of the parade. That was all I could feel. And it sucked. Seattle Mariners, look at me here. The year of our Lord, 2026. is the last year of Rick Riz. Win it for Riz.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And obviously my sports teams are in the same city, but I can speak to the sentiment that you get weird championships. And this is not a knock against the Seahawks. I thought they were the best team basically the whole season. Maybe the Rams were the best for a little bit, but like they were the best team in the NFL this year. Is it a filler season in the NFL? Maybe.
Honestly, it feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just like me not being like prioritizing football a little less or being hurt with the Tyler Loop stuff, or the 1-5 Ravens start, but it felt like a filler season. Like Mahomes was hurt, and then Allen poops his pants on national TV, and Burrow's hurt again, Lamar's hurt again, the Eagles suck, the Cowboys are below average. It's like, really, and like Seattle's a great team, but it's very 2015-y to me that the Broncos were a great team, but it's a weird shape of the production. It's so good defensively, the offense was so bad. And then Seattle was like an all-time great special teams, a great defense, a really good offense that just did not turn the ball over in the playoffs, which shout out to them. First team ever to do that.
That's incredible.
Our first Super Bowl champion to ever do that. But
especially considering that, one Mr. Sam Darnold has been known as a turnover machine a lot of times.
So there was no Benedict Darnold. Good for them. But I can definitely speak to the idea of the wrong team winning the title, that the 2021 Braves would probably get slapped by the 2020 Braves, the 2022 Braves, the 2023 Braves. The 2016 Cavs probably get slapped by the 2017 Cavs. The 2012 Ravens team in my lifetime are a below average Ravens team. They are the ones that won the Super Bowl. Like you could say if they were like, I don't want to say neutral site because they would all play their home games at M&T Bank Stadium. But if they played a Super Bowl against all 20 Ravens teams I've seen, like the average like Lamar healthy Ravens team, because Lamar's never missed more than half the season, but the average Lamar healthy Ravens team, the average Flacco healthy Ravens team, I think they are underdogs at least 9 or 10 of the other 19 years. So I definitely understand that when the quote unquote wrong team wins
for me, it's not even the fact it was the wrong football team. It was the wrong sport team.
Well, no, I feel you there. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's more what I felt like.
Yeah. I'm just speaking from my own experience.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because my teams don't happen to be in the same city, but even like the 2021 Hawks and 2021 Braves, the 2021 Hawks are like the crazy story. They beat the Knicks. You had the whole Trae Young at the Garden. They beat the Knicks. They lose to Milwaukee. But then the Braves go on and win the championship there. Or I'm sure Cleveland fans, when the Cavs win in 2016, I wonder how many wish the Guardians had won instead of the Cavs. Now, obviously, you had the reverse order there, but I'm sure there were some that are like, okay, wish the Guardians had broken their drought, or the Indians at the time had broken their drought, as opposed to the Cavs breaking the drought. Although you did win one with LeBron, so there's a trade-off there.
Definitely.
So, all right, I will go into my moment. Count me down, sire.
Yes, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Baseball, welcome back to our lives. Spring training. It's like you get a day of the guys showing up to camp. The first time you see the pitchers on the mound. Today I saw Chris Sale strike out Ronald a couple times. That's all well and good. And then the injury news start hitting. It's like, and like I said earlier, Spencer Schwellenbach is probably my favorite Braves pitcher ever. And it stinks that this is his second year of dealing with injuries, his second year in a row of going on the 60-day IL. And I'm sure they're related in some way, but it just stinks that, like, having a favorite pitcher stinks. And the odds of that player suffering a catastrophic injury, namely a UCL, getting Tommy John surgery, it's really high. And it just sucks that it's like that. If you have a favorite position player, unless you happen to be a fan of Ronald Acuna Jr., like a lot of Braves fans, You are not immune to the injuries, but you're pretty safe, right? If you were, a Juan Soto fan, Juan Soto hasn't missed significant time. The most significant time Soto has missed is when he got COVID back in 2020 and nearly didn't qualify for the batting title, right? Like Aaron Judge, okay, you're a big fan of Aaron Judge. He's missed a huge chunk of time twice, and one was a really fluky one at Dodger Stadium. What if you're a Mookie Betts fan or a Freddie Freeman fan? They haven't missed a lot of time. Like the most Freddie missed was when his child was sick. That's obviously not his fault. And Betts missed time with being sick last year when the season started. But if you're a fan of, a pitcher, Zach Wheeler just went through thoracic outlet. You're a fan of Scooble. He had a Tommy John. Spencer Strider, Tommy John. Garrett Cole just had Tommy John. Justin Verlander missed an entire season and most of the COVID season, had pitched one start over 2 seasons. Clayton Kershaw, I don't need to tell you the laundry list of injuries he's had. He ends up throwing like 130 innings or whatever, but it always feels like something is nagging him. And it just stinks when one of your favorite players is a pitcher and they have such a high likelihood of missing time. And that time is not a week here, a week there, right? Like Austin Riley, for example, has missed a couple months here, a couple weeks there, Michael Harris, one of my favorite players, missed a couple weeks here and there at back injuries. But when it's a pitcher, like it's 2 months at least, a lot of times. Like it's a month, 2 months in the entire season. Spencer Strider 2 years ago made 2 starts, wiped out the entire season and the start of the next season. That's like 16 months without watching Spencer Strider pitch. And we're going to go on almost a year of not being able to watch Spencer Schwellenbach pitch, a player who, before he got hurt, was becoming the superstar us in Braves country knew he could be. The ramping up the velocity, it's sort of the combination, everything I like of Greg Maddux, Spencer Strider, and Max Fried just combined into one that, like, he threw hard, maybe not quite as hard as Strider did, as consistently, but he could ramp it up and like, oh man, he could pump 99 in there. He had a huge pitch mix like Max Fried. Also, shout out to Max Fried, man. He was really good with the Yankees. I don't think he gets talked about enough. He's a top 10 pitcher in the sport. But Max Fried can go out there and maybe the curveball's on that day. Maybe the sinker's on that day. Maybe the fastball's on that day. He just boom, 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 has all these options. He has all these like tentacles coming out at you. Bow, bow, bow. And then Greg Maddux, like the ultimate control. He's going to dot the edges. He's going to cross the T's, dot the I's, paint it on the black, maybe a couple inches off the black. Shout out to Eric Gregg. And Schwellenbach did all those things. He had the microscopic walk rate. He struck guys out. He threw hard. He threw a lot of pitches. And it sucks because he's such a talented pitcher. Like I don't feel out of place saying he's like the 90th percentile or 90% of Paul Skeens or Zach Wheeler or these other top pitchers, Tarek Skubal. I don't feel any like hesitation saying he is that talented. He could be one of the best pitchers. There's a reason I picked him to win the Cy Young last year. He's just incredibly, incredibly talented. And maybe the uptick in velocity caused the injuries last year with the bone chips and he fractured his elbow. And this year it's more of a cleanup procedure. I don't know, but it just sucks that Tommy John is looming for one of my favorite pitchers. And for my money, one of the best pitchers in baseball. And if you lined up tools to tools, I don't think there's many better. And that's just lame.
I felt the same kind of way when Brian Wu went down at the end of last year, because you saw a guy that had been working so hard to solidify his spot as a number one and then just to be taken out at the very end of the season.
Right.
Like, I get it. It
or really, even like Kirby for you as well.
Kirby was the other one I was about to bring up.
Like Kirby, I think Kirby and Schwellenbach, Kirby's more established, of course. So it's kind of like if you'd like George Wu or Brian Kirby, that would be a perfect stand-in
sounds
for
like
Spencer Schwellenbach.
I mean, also Brian Kirby sounds like the best pitcher in baseball. Let's be real here for a second.
Yeah, but it's just frustrating when you're like, because so many pitchers go down. You look at the velocity leaderboard. If you were a Sandy fan, injury. Yuri Perez fan, injury. Hunter Green fan, he's always injured. It's just like, Corbin Burns, he's hurt.
God,
Jacob deGrom.
He's hurt.
If Mac is listening out there in Florida, he's probably having like a seizure. Like Jacob deGrom. Like he might be the best pitcher any of us will ever see in our lifetime, and he missed 3 full seasons or something equivalent to that.
Absolutely heartbreaking, honestly. Because, like, again, he is... Yeah, you look at what deGrom did, and deGrom was the benchmark for pitchers. The fastball, the breaking ball, everything he had was just different.
Or you look at even another Brave, Chris Sale, that he has missed time with a variety of fluky injuries, and it frustrates me because you have the Johan Santana, Felix Hernandez, Chris Sale is in this group, like these, call it like 40 to 60 WAR pitchers that probably don't have the counting stats to be in the Hall of Fame, but anyone with eyes who watch them could say, yeah, he's a Hall of Fame talent. And it just sucks that like when a pitcher gets injured, it's like half the season usually. And that doesn't even consider like a dip in performance, being injured or whatever. If it's a position player, an IL stint, they can still play 150 games. Like they could have 2 IL stints or 3 IL stints. Corey Seager missed a quarter of the season and still qualified for the batting title. Like that is a full season technically, and Seager missed 43 games. A pitcher missing a quarter of the season, you're not qualifying for any ERA title. You're not qualifying for any awards. You're probably not making the All-Star game. Your counting stats are diminished. And when, it matters, 2,000 strikeouts or 200 wins or 250 strikeouts in a season, or these stats matter, it sucks when it's taken away from you. It sucks when you don't get, 180 innings out of your ace pitcher. It's like 100 innings or 90 innings or 72 innings or the heaven forbid, no stats.
Yeah. The other thing with it as well is that you always will wonder what if, right? And it always hurts your like expectations going forward. Because now we talk about these guys that, they can't, go long anymore. They can't go these full seasons. Or they can't throw 150 innings because they've never done it before because they've always been injured. So when it actually does happen, they're like, oh, finally you show up in your 8th year. Like, yeah, this is the first year that I haven't broken somehow.
Right. And it's tough with Strider, right? We've seen it with Strider that he hasn't been the same since he's been back. And part of that was a couple blow-up outings, but part of that is the diminished velocity, and now he has to be more of like a pitchability guy than a throws 99 guy, and that just it's sort of lame because we all saw it. We have video proof of Spencer Strider striking out 16 Rockies, or Spencer Strider he struck out like 281 batters in 2023 and won 21 games for those who count wins, and it's just like that's probably not happening again. Or those or for me, the one that really hurts is with Ronaldo Lopez, that he came on like 1 day's rest to get 3 outs against the Mets in game 162. Absolute gangster. I came out on the podcast the next week. It's like, I don't care that we lost to San Diego. I don't care what happened. Ronaldo Lopez, build the statue. He made 2 appearances last year, 1 appearance last year. Now he's going to be in the bullpen this year. Just like, okay. All that for what?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. A little bit of a somber end to the podcast. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to XYZ Ballin. Shout out to Skylar in the chat. You're great. Much appreciated. You can follow us at Losses Above Replacement, wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, LAR_baseball. You can follow me at Mr. Splashman19. You can follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. You can follow Mac. He's not here, but he's here in our spirits at Mathias_A_K. And thank you all for watching Lost of Our Replacement. Baseball is back, baby! Spring training! Woo, woo, woo.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!